Have you ever been injured? If so, what was your experience? Have you ever thought about doing marathon desart? How do you motivate yourself on the days you are feeling flat? Am I still with the running channel? The answer is, okay, so this is going to be a very different video to what you're normally used to seeing from me, but I did say in the previous video that I will be doing a Q&A, so today I'm just going to be answering a lot of your questions as well as getting a few things off of my chest. So make sure you stay right to the end because there are some things that I obviously want to say. But we're just going to start with a few of the questions that I've received on Instagram, and then we'll move on to all of the YouTube questions that we got from last week, and I'll be answering them one by one. I'll be referring to my phone, obviously, because I can't memorize the questions. So if you see me look down at my phone, it's because I'm reading out the questions. But without further ado, let's get into question number one. How did you first get into running? I think that's a very good question to start on. Interestingly enough, I haven't been running my whole life. I've only been running since the lockdown. I have been into fitness and health for a long period of time now, probably 10 plus years. I wasn't very fit growing up. I used to get many notes from my mum, or fake notes from my mum, so I can skip out on PE, specifically swimming, because I was a really overweight child and I didn't want to go topless in a room full of boys. I guess I got into running because now that I was in fitness through the majority of my adult life, lockdown happened, and I know a lot of people had no way or no escape from that. So the one thing I would use, especially because the gyms were closed, was going for a run. But yeah, because there wasn't really anything else to do at the time, I thought, let me just put one foot in front of the other, try and stay active in a time where it was so easy to like regress. And that's not saying if anyone did regress in that period of time. It was a really, really tough time for the whole world, so understandable if you did. I'm just saying what I done was pick up running, and I think, never thinking it would get me to where I am now, by the way, but I think picking up running was one of the best decisions I made in my life, and that's how I started running. Question number two. Have you ever thought about doing marathon desart? I think that's how you pronounce it, marathon desart, MDS. If you don't know what MDS is, it's a ultra marathon, multi-stage ultra, if I'm not mistaken, through the deserts of Morocco. I actually did do a multi-stage ultra earlier this year through the deserts of Oman, a very different race to MDS in the sense that it is still self-sufficient, it is still through the desert, but you're running predominantly on sand dunes compared to, I guess, a bit more gravelly roads. You're also have no access to, I mean, we had access to hot water, sorry. I don't think you have access to hot water in MDS. Long story short, potentially. I have thought about it. I just have a few goals within the shorter distances personally to tick off first before I go back into ultra running. But once I am in ultra running, MDS is definitely on the list because it looks like an incredible race, and I definitely have a point to prove with self-sufficient races, especially now that I know a lot more about them. Is content creator now your profession? I guess so, yes. I've been doing content creation for, I mean, I had an Instagram since 2012, but I've been doing content creation for a while. It's been, I guess, a passion of mine and a dream of mine to make it a full-time thing for as long as I can remember. And I think I would officially say, like, yeah, I'm making money, making a living off of it. So yes, it is my full-time profession, and I wouldn't be able to do it without people like yourself and everyone else that's watching this video supporting me, whether that is through comments, likes, subscribes, shares. Whatever you do that engages with me helps. It really, really does help, and it allows me to continue doing this as a living and continue to provide as much information and content that I can for your entertainment and your education without having to charge any of you a penny. So yeah, engage if you can. Any chance of you doing Cape Town Marathon this year or in the near future? Yes, as soon as it becomes a major, is the only reason I could justify it. But yes, I really, really, really want to. I have a few friends out in Cape Town, and I've been promising to visit them for a while, so I just need the perfect reason and the time to be able to dedicate to do Cape Town Marathon. So fingers crossed, 2026, 2027, who knows, we'll see. Mentality after a bad session. I think the question's asking, what is my mentality after a bad session? It's really tough because I tend to beat myself up a lot. I try to push beyond my limits, or within, I should say, my limits for most of my sessions. Like, I really know that training hard is the only way that you're going to improve. There is no improvement in just training easy, especially the kinds of improvements that I'm trying to make. And some sessions just don't go to plan, whether that's because of the sleep you had or the breakfast, or you just mentally weren't in it. I think it's so easy to get caught up in that and be like you're losing progress or you're a failure, so to speak. And I've definitely caught myself saying that as well. But I think the biggest thing and the biggest thing I've learned is just accepting what is. Acceptance is one of the greatest like superpowers in your arsenal to have in your arsenal. It's not to say that you're just going to give yourself grace and you can just keep it stepping every single time. There's always something to learn from those sessions that go bad, but ultimately the session went bad, you weren't able to complete it. You feeling worse about it doesn't change anything, doesn't give you that session back. So the one thing you want to do is like use that emotion to try and figure out what you needed to learn from that session, and then take that forward into the next. Use it as fuel, use it as a drive, but don't feel like you've failed, if that makes sense, because there's always going to be another session that you can do. And if you don't get your marathon time at the end of however many sessions you've done, then there's always another marathon you could do, etc., etc. So I think it's so easy to get caught up in the cycle of I didn't perform as well as I wanted to, but I do think that there is always a lesson learned in both the good and the bad sessions. The bad sessions just tend to scream louder when it comes to lessons. What worked for you to increase your VO2 max except quadriceps? I actually want to come clean about that. I think I was mistaken when I put on my Instagram a few months ago that it was quadriceps that helped boost my VO2 max. I've since done quite a bit of research into it, and I do think that, yes, I was taking quadriceps for a period of like 12 weeks in the marathon block, but I was also in a marathon block, and my VO2 max probably went up because of the sessions that I was doing, and I was progressively overloading in terms of the sessions that I was doing and just getting fitter. So it was just correlation, not causation. I think looking back at the data and the research, I can't conclusively say that quadriceps help boost your VO2 max, regardless of what the marketing says, that I probably would have fallen for myself. So with that being said, things to improve your VO2 max are like VO2 max sessions. Obviously, there are a few sessions that you can do basically that can help directly improve your VO2 max, but also know that what your watch says isn't a true reflection of what your VO2 max is. But also on top of that, having a higher VO2 max isn't the one and only indicator of fitness trending in the right direction. So it's just a number and it's one of many indicators. But if you specifically want to train your VO2 max because for any reason that you want to, then there are specific sessions that you can do that will help build that base. Have you ever been injured? If so, what was your experience? I have been injured. I've been injured a few times, and I think, unpopular opinion, I think people need to get injured to actually know that they've pushed their limits. An injury is just basically you reaching your limit. And without that, you kind of never know where your ceiling is. So if you're always training below your means and sensibly, which I'd recommend as well, then you never ever get injured, which is great. But I think for the love of the sport, an injury does really make you realign your focus and your priorities when it comes to running to never want to get injured again. My injury was an IT band injury, and what was your experience? It was a horrible experience, honestly. I really struggled without running, and it made me love running even more. I really focused on strength and conditioning to rehab the IT band. I focused on rest, I focused on cross training, and it really did open up like a new realm of possibility when it came to trying to stay fit without, because it was so easy to be like, okay, cool, I can't run, let me just fall off the bandwagon. But I really tried to make sure that I was able to still stay fit, still do things that I love, still show up to all these run clubs despite being injured, and I'd cycle next to them, or I'd walk, or I'd meet them at the start, let them do their run, and then meet them for coffee afterwards. Because it's just so important to, when you do get injured, not like wallow in self-pity, isolate yourself. It's always important to still show up for the people just as you'd expect them hopefully to show up for you as well, and still give back to the sport that's given you so much. So that was my experience, and I managed to run Tokyo off the back of the IT band injury in 2024, and I was really happy with that. Tokyo, one of the majors of the world, and it was a phenomenal race. Could you share a hybrid or running program based on your personal experience? Yes, I can. Stay tuned, that video is going to come. I'm going to tell you every single thing that I'm doing personally to train for my next race, but also trying to keep some sort of aesthetic and functional training in. But long story short, it's going to consist of 6 runs, 4 gym sessions, upper, lower, upper, lower. That's about all I can tell you for now. There's going to be a whole video where I break down every single one of the movements, why I'm doing every single one of the movements. And so yeah, stay tuned for that. What is your proudest moment and toughest lesson in running? I think one of my proudest moments in running, still to this day, is Milton Keynes Marathon that I done 2-3 years now. The first time I ran sub-3, spoiler. If you haven't watched that video, then go and watch the video. It's on the running channel. And it's one of the greatest, like for me anyways, proudest moments of my life. Not only because I was able to run the time that I really wanted to run, but because the training I put in and the love that I was shown from the community that I had helped build. It was just a very, very emotionally charged day in a good way. And when you're in so much pain and you see so many people come to show you love and support you, I think that kind of icing on the cake for me in terms of how proud I felt within myself, because it wasn't just running. It was the fruits of my labor, I guess, in so many aspects, all culminating into one one moment where I crossed that finish line. So yeah, proudest moment. Toughest lesson in running is running owes you nothing, especially a marathon. A marathon owes you absolutely nothing. And I think in London, despite doing the best training block of my life, I still was unable to get the time that I really wanted to get. And that was down to conditions on the day that I wasn't prepared for, and I should have prepared for. And I think that's what I love about running, but what's so tough about it is that it owes you absolutely nothing. And you can give it your all, and your all can still not be enough. And that's okay. That's okay. That's such a beautiful feeling, because it's like, now you can go again. So that's probably my toughest moment. I think while I'm on the topic of the running channel, it's easiest to get to one of the questions that I got so frequently as well. And I guess the elephant in the room, so to speak. Am I still with the running channel? The answer is no. And I say that with a heavy heart, because I absolutely adore the running channel and the running channel community and all my colleagues that I worked with, who I'd say are my friends that I'd worked with. It was a really, really tough decision to go it solo, and I hope it's the right decision, but I don't think there's a thing in making the right decision. It's about making the decision and then making it right. A lot of people have joked about there's a presenter Mo and then there's Mo, and I think this allows me to just be in Mo. It just means that, yeah, unfortunately, you probably won't see me on the running channel anymore. I think this is genuinely a really exciting part of my life and a really exciting opportunity, and I really, really hope that you guys all stay tuned and support me the way you've supported me for the past 3 years, because absolutely nothing changes. You're still going to get the best content from me. You're going to get all my effort, and hopefully we can grow this channel. Well, they have all my support, and I will see them at events and runs and everything else. So not to worry, you can still see Mo, and you can also still see the running channel. We can coexist, and I think it's going to be a very exciting chapter ahead. How do you motivate yourself on the days you are feeling flat? Phenomenal question, and I think it's so, so important. I don't have much motivation. I think motivation is, like, picture it as a circle, I guess, and there's three parts of it. There's motivated to act, there's the act, and then there's the feeling good after the act, which then leads to more motivation, and it kind of goes into a spiral. You can start anywhere on those points. Like, you can start with the motivation that then causes you to take action, and then that action makes you feel good to then take more action. You can also just start on the action, and that action will make you feel good to take more action, and that will give you the motivation, etc., etc. Sorry, I'm really not demonstrating in the best way. Or you could just start by choosing to feel good rather than to motivate, like choosing to remember how good you felt the last time you took action, and then that will give you the motivation. So you don't have to start with motivation. You can start at any one point. There's nothing that says that has to be the one factor that comes in first. It's not linear, it's kind of circular. The second thing is, there are days obviously where you have to conjure motivation, even to do things like shower or brush your teeth. But 99% of the time, you don't have to feel motivated to brush your teeth, tie your shoelaces, go for a shower in the morning. You don't feel motivated to go to work, but you still go to work pretty much all the time. There are some days you have to drag yourself out of bed, but most of the time you don't. So I think motivation is overrated. Discipline is overrated. The people that have the most discipline are the ones that use it the least. By that I mean, structure your environment in a way that you wouldn't have to rely on discipline all the time, because that just feels like you're going against resistance. Whereas when it comes to habits, you know, brushing my teeth is habitual, tying my laces when it's undone is habitual, and just going out for a run as soon as I wake up is habitual. Like, it's just a part of my routine now, and I think that's the easiest point to get to. But that does work linearly. You have to have the motivation to then create the discipline, to then make it a habit. The best advice basically I can give you is just read Atomic Habits by James Clear as well. If you don't want to read, listen to the audiobook. Phenomenal book. Highly recommend. What is your number one tip on fueling when you are training for a marathon? I think my number one tip when fueling is make sure that you fuel adequately. Like, you burn a lot of calories in a marathon, and it's so easy to want to lose weight so you can run faster, and it's so easy to want to go on a cut. But like while you're training for a marathon, that's like the worst thing that you can do. Like, if you do want to lose weight so you're in race shape, for example, do that before your training block, and then throughout the training block you want to be fueling every single one of those like really, really well, to the point where every session that you do is fueled, and you want to practice that same fueling on every single one of your long runs, for example. And ideally you practice the fueling every single day, but you want to definitely practice the fueling and the carb loading before every single one of your longer runs. And then during a marathon, I would personally have 7 gels, one every 5K, and just carry an 1/8 with me. But that's personal preference, entirely up to you how you want to approach that. But also, if you really want me to make a deep dive into the nutrition side of it, then just let me know in the comments below, and I will make a completely separate video, because I think it's such a nuanced topic, and I don't want you to take blanket advice and apply it to yourself. So let me know. Sorry, this might be a really long video. I didn't actually expect it to take this long to answer a few of the questions, but if you're still here, then thank you so much. And if you're here and you're not subscribed, then make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another video. How do you keep enjoying running when it becomes your way to earn a living? Great question. Again, I think I love running, not just because obviously I can do it for a living right now, but I love it because of the very essence of it. There is no end to running. There is no, yes, you can complete a marathon. Yes, you can get your fastest ever marathon. You can go longer, but you can never finish running. There is no end. You can't complete running. Don't get me wrong, I do have a love-hate relationship. Like, sometimes I really don't want to run, and then I just remember like why I got into running in the first place, which is like, I didn't know anything about races. I didn't know anything about times. I just ran because the movement and the innate reward that you get from moving. I think there's something so tribal and like, I don't want to say prehistoric, like ancestral, about just putting one foot in front of the other. I think humans were wired to move that way and like get a reward from it, from I guess our hunter-gatherer days. So I don't know, and I always like look at the community. The community is one of the things that always remind me like why I love running so much. The running community is probably the best community in the world. There's just so much support and love, and not as much competition as it might look like from the outside. And people are so supportive and so lovely and so wonderful. So basically, to answer your question, is like, how do I keep enjoying it? Is because the people that are involved in my life, the people that I can run with, the people that show me support online, the people that show me support in real life, it means so much more to me than the money that I can make from doing this job. Hope that answers your question. What perspective did you have to drop and adopt to improve as a runner? I think I alluded to it a bit earlier as well, but you can't keep giving yourself grace. Whenever it gets a little bit tough, you can quit because you have another opportunity to do this tomorrow. It kind of goes against a little bit what I said earlier, but it's like, yes, you always have tomorrow, but you also need to know that if you want to improve as a runner, it's going to suck sometimes. Like, embrace the suck. One of my good friends, Herc, always says like, it's part of your daily discomfort. It is uncomfortable, and it's supposed to be. Like, it's not going to be fun and games and comfortable every single time. Like, I think one of the things that made me better as a runner is like, discomfort isn't a bad thing, isn't inherently a bad thing. If you are just sitting in a bit of discomfort, I think your improvement in running is going to be directly correlated to how much discomfort you are willing to sit in and tolerate and bear. If you can sit in that, that's the one thing that's going to make you improve as a runner. Don't shy away from the hard, embrace the suck. What is the biggest mindset shift you've made, and how do you apply this in races? Was sub-3 a turning point for you? The biggest mindset shift, I literally think I just answered it in the previous question, but was sub-3 a turning point for me? Yes, I really do think that being able to get a sub-3, it was only my second race ever, like my second race marathon, and being able to get a sub-3 is just like, okay, cool, maybe I can continue to improve. It was like the first time that I'd set a goal in terms of the marathon, set a goal, train towards the goal, got the goal. And it's just like, okay, cool, my actions are directly correlated with the results. The more input I put in, the better the output. And that for me kind of like triggered something. Is like, yes, you can say you're going to do something, do the things that lead to that thing, and then get that thing. And it's just like, okay, that's quite simple. Let me just apply that again. And that was a turning point for me, I guess. I'm training for a half marathon right now. If my plan is feeling easy, should I push above that or trust the process and stick to what's prescribed? If you feel like the paces that you are doing currently in your training plan aren't, like, if you feel like you're clearing them every single time and you're going at like an 8 out of 10 effort, not a 10 out of 10 effort, then I would say yes, shift the goalposts a little bit, or it might be worth doing a time trial. You're training for half marathon, so doing maybe like a 5 or 10K time trial, and then going back to wherever you got that plan from and adjusting the paces accordingly. Alternatively, you can use an app like Runna, which can monitor your paces using AI and then will increase your speed or decrease your speed depending on how well you are doing in your sessions. This wasn't going to be a sponsored ad, but since I'm on the topic, I have a Runna code, and my code is on screen right now if you want to get 2 free weeks off. It's the training buddy or plan that I've been using for my last few races, and I can't fault it. So if you want to get 2 free weeks, then code's on screen. Also linked down below, and use Runna because that will help you. And then another question would be, the wall can be different for everyone in a different way from physical to mental. Which do you find is your biggest wall aspect? 100% the mental. I think the physical wall is so easy to avoid if you run the race correctly at the pace that you need to run or that you've trained for and have fueled and hydrated correctly. A lot of people sleep on hydration. They just have water, and obviously when you're sweating so much, especially in a marathon, you need electrolytes. And fueling is, if you fuel correctly, you won't hit that wall physically, but you can definitely hit it mentally. And that's what I was saying earlier as well, is like, it will suck. I think it was Becky Briggs that said this. You don't train so that the marathon feels easy. You train so that you can endure the pain that will come when the pain comes, basically. I completely butchered that, but it is a mental wall, because a lot of people feel like as soon as they start to feel that pain or that discomfort, that something's wrong, or maybe I should slow down, or maybe I should. But no, like, a marathon's gonna hurt. No matter what pace you do it at, a marathon's going to hurt. And the one thing you need to do is be able to sit in that hurt for a little bit. Favorite Monster flavor? They're currently boycott, but this flavor on screen. Did you make content before TRC? Yes, I did make content before the running channel. Not on YouTube, obvious. Actually, to be fair, I had a YouTube channel like 10 years ago when I first tried to make this a living. It's actually hilarious if I can go back and find those videos, but I think I've archived every single one of them. Not on this channel, on a previous channel that I used to have. I've actually tried to make YouTube 3 times. One of them is still active. It's a movie account where I review movies that I watch. The other one was like a skit / prank account. I'm not proud of that. This was back in, I think I was in year 11, so I was like 16, trying to make YouTube happen back then. And I've also tried to make YouTube happen like 2 or 3 years after that, where it was like strictly just a gym account. And then I fell off the bandwagon. So fingers crossed I don't fall off the bandwagon. Fingers crossed I don't fall off the bandwagon this time, and I can truly make entertaining content. But yes, no, TRC was not my first bit of content. I've been creating content for a very, very long time. TRC has just obviously really, really helped and supported with that. So again, if you haven't seen them or you don't know anything about them, go and check them out. And if you are here from TRC, then thank you so much for coming over here and supporting me on this channel. And I think that's about it. That's all the questions I have time for in this video before it gets on way too long. But if you have any more burning questions that you have for me, then please either leave them down in the comments or drop me a message directly on Instagram, and I can go back to you with the answers. And thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, then please do subscribe. Like I said earlier, it makes such a massive difference. Or just click the like button. It costs you nothing. It means everything to me. So please do that, and I will see you in the next one.